Welcome to Botches Off-Road. Today we've got Grant Martin from Torkstrap on. I'm sure we'll talk about Torkstrap a little. They're a great product. But the big thing is safety and strapping stuff down. We've got a lot of guys moving to hauling their trailing rigs places rather than driving them. And what is it? It's at least once a week we see something fall off a trailer and some
Yeah.
video, you know? Um,
Yes.
so, all right, Grant, if you want to introduce yourself a little bit there.
Yeah, thanks for that platform there, Alex. Awesome to be with you guys. Great show. I've been listening to the last couple of your episodes. Cash for Clunkers was a pretty good one. Pretty interesting take on that. But I digress. Yeah, I'm Grant. I invented the torque strap back in 2020. Back in COVID, we all picked up a hobby, some more useless than others. I found a fairly productive hobby, and I've been pushing the product ever since. A lot of people have seen our viral videos that came out of like 23 and 24. And then I kind of I kind of took a step back from the virality and tried to step more into consistency.
Mhm.
So here we are, 2026. I was on the Snail Trail podcast, and I think it was before or after the show, your guys' name got brought up, I believe. And yeah, I started listening to you guys, and now here I am, and I'm excited. Thank you guys.
Yeah, dude, we love having you on. I'm actually starting which our listeners know this, and I think I talked about a little with you. I'm starting a hot shot business with a buddy right now, and we've been talking about straps, and he's like, "Well, we could just go get some from Harbor Freight." I'm like, "Dude, I know a better way."
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's the thing about straps. You know, it's such a big industry, so many brands, so commoditized that people almost look at straps as consumables.
Mhm.
But when you look at the liability of what you're doing when you strap something down, you're thinking about the A to B, but you're not thinking about the what ifs, and you're not
Right.
thinking about the, you know, worst case scenario kind of, and you're not thinking about normal scenarios, vibrations,
Mhm.
load shift, side winds, that the mentality of, you know, give it a flick, that ain't going nowhere. That feels good, and that's fine for getting a lawnmower from your house to your grandma's house.
Yep.
But you guys are hauling some serious cargo. It takes a lot more thought than that.
I have definitely had a Ram 1500 about take itself off a trailer, so
Yeah. They tend to walk a little bit on the trailer, don't they?
just a little.
Yep, yep.
Luckily, I found a light post and was able to ratchet it to the light post and pull it back straight.
Nice.
Okay.
That's
All right.
some good ingenuity.
But yeah, so when it comes to strapping stuff down, what is it about torque strap that makes it better than a traditional strap?
Well, this all started because, you know, to really back up, when I was 15 or 16, I was working construction with my father, and he went to let go of a tension bungee, and it still had, you know, 20, 30 pounds of pressure on it, and the hook actually lodged into his hand.
Ooh.
Now,
Oh,
dad's a construction worker, wasn't a big deal to him, but to me, it was just like, man, this is silly. There's got to be another way. And I think that same year, I prototyped implementing flexible portions, and it kind of it kind of all came to a head when I started really dirt biking a lot. Because if you think about the mechanics or the physics of strapping down a dirt bike, you can strap down a dirt bike with two regular cam straps.
mhm.
For some reason, it works. Why does a cam strap work on a dirt bike, but it doesn't work on a nightstand when you're moving your sister to college?
Right,
The difference is the suspension.
right.
So I realized we need to put the suspension in the strap. Now, again, I'm 15, 16, 17, didn't do anything with it. You know, life happens, you're chasing jobs and girls. But by the time I was 30, I had my first daughter, and I was a lineman at the time. Fine job, great career. I miss that paycheck sometimes, but I knew I needed to do something different, and I knew I was not kind of hitting my potential. So that's when I pulled out that notebook and found that strap idea. It all kind of came back to me, and I said, okay, I'm a big boy now. Maybe I should do this the right way. And I had never even really run a lemonade stand. My dad had the construction business, but he was dad on the ladder. I didn't really have a lot of entrepreneurial experience or any type of like guidance in that realm. So what makes it better is the spring-loaded technology. Um, Most straps, well, first of all, you don't have to ratchet with our first two models. Our 1 inch and our 1.5 inch, you don't have to ratchet. You just pull it tight and it stays tight, just like the good old days when we're strapping down the dirt bike. Our
Mhm.
heavy duty or our pro model, the Torkstrap Pro, that's a 2 incher. That's also spring loaded, meaning even if the cargo shifts or sinks, it's going to stay tight. So you
Right.
always have give in your cargo. All loads shift, all loads vibrate, all loads sink. That's just the nature of it. The question is, how much is it going to sink, and is your strap going to contour to that, which is what we do.
Right. Yeah, that spring. It's just it's such. It seems like such a basic idea, but it's crazy that no one up to this point has thought about doing it.
Right? Yeah. It is fairly simple, and people have tried to put flex in straps before, but never done it right, in my opinion.
Right.
They've used rubber, or they've tried to make the entire strap flexible, which you lose your load rating when you do that.
Right.
The spring was actually a friend of my idea. Shout out to Zach Toll. I was selling them, I was using bungee in them, and he said, "Well, man, if you made it with a spring, you'd never have a repeat customer. It'll last forever." And I kind of laughed and I said, "Wait a second, that's genius." And within like a couple months, I had changed the design to put the spring in there. It is a tiny change, but it comes with a lot of benefit and also a lot of cost too.
Right.
Straps have been made the same way for 130 years. Polyester buckle hooks or ratchet hooks.
Right.
They
Mhm.
have that system down pat. When you try to change that up, that's really challenging. So we really have to own the manufacturing process. We don't do it ourselves, but we have to be very strict about it. Um, Intense quality control, not that they mess up a lot, but because it is off the beaten path. The machines
Right.
aren't set up to do this.
So you've got a steel spring in there, and it's got a dust cover. Have you had any of them rust?
No, that has never come up. And the reason is when you look at straps as a whole, they're only as good as their weakest link. And the first weak link that's going to come up is your buddy's going to steal it. That's just the unfortunate
Right.
truth.
It sure
The
is.
the second weak link is you're probably going to cut the polyester somewhere. You're probably going to cut the webbing somewhere on accident or wear it down by not properly protecting the corners. We have very good polyester, most companies do, but that's the nature of it. So it has never come up in a claim that like, hey, rust is bleeding through the dust cover or anything like that. Um, Honestly, like I said, the weak link is like, hey, I just wore out the webbing on this. Can you send me a replacement end? Which we do in those cases, and we'll send it to you
That's
for free.
awesome. Yeah, I'd be interested to see. We've got a lot of salt water around here.
Hmm.
Well, salted water. So it'd be interesting to see what happens, maybe 3, 4 seasons if I don't wear out the webbing, because I always do.
Right.
I just picked up a parts car not too long ago, and I went and bought brand new straps, and we wore out the webbing on one of them before we even got back to the house. So
Yeah.
20, almost $30 strap, and it lasted, one trip.
Was that
Yeah.
from vibration and friction? Like, how does that happen?
So it started with vibration, and then it jumped over the thing that was holding it on the control arm and
Mhm.
slid into the crook of the control arm and got
Mm.
pinched, and then just got worn.
Yeah, effective. Like it can go so well or so wrong in so many different ways. In fact, we're talking about safety. It's kind of interesting. FMCA has a lot of rules around straps, what they should look
Mhm.
like, what the load ratings on them should be, but there's no set formula to really gauge the weight ratings on your straps. In other words, yes, there are minimums. Like the minimum by the FMCA is your working load limit should be half of the weight of the vehicle you're moving or the item you're moving. Okay.
Hmm.
Mm.
But that's not enough because that's you're basically saying, hey, I have a 1,000 pound ATV. You only need uh, about 4 200 pound working load straps. 200 pound workload straps are nothing. Those are tiny.
Right.
But
Yeah.
according to FMCA, that's enough. Now, if you get into a wreck and you roll over and it goes flying, God forbid that ATV hurts somebody, highway patrol, whatever governing body, they're going to look at that and be like, are you kidding me? You know, you
Yeah.
didn't factor the side wind, you didn't factor a rollover, you didn't factor. So even though you went kind of by the book, you didn't come anywhere close to really transporting safely. So I kind of tried to devise a formula, which is risky again because you don't know how people load. You're taking your common sense ain't so common as they say. But I tried to look at three different things. What's the weight of the object? Okay, 1,000 pound ATV, and then let's rate the stability of the object. A one, two, or three. One is a
Mhm.
cube. Three is a refrigerator on stilts. On legs.
Yeah.
We'll give the ATV a one. They're built to be stable. They're built to turn at a 35, 40-degree angle without rolling over. So times that 1,000 pounds by one for stability. And then how are you going to be driving it? One, two, or three? One, meaning you're just going take from your house to your buddy's house in town. Two, town is treacherous and there's crosswinds and tornadoes. And three, you're going on a 75-mile-an-hour highway. So with those in mind, you can kind of use those as multiples to determine how much of a safe load rating you want to put on the vehicle. And again, that's not a guarantee because
Right.
I don't know your load. Your load is your load. I don't know your common sense. I don't know how tight you're putting things. I don't know what you're anchoring to. There's so much that can go wrong.
Yep.
Yeah. My rule of thumb is the biggest strap I can fit is the one that I'm going to use.
Exactly. Why not? Yeah.
If I've got, I tend to have like 10,000 brake strength straps. So if I've got four of them, why wouldn't I use four of them?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I definitely agree.
So, but yeah, man, I'm looking at your Torkstrap Pro. This is such a solid looking ratchet, dude.
Oh, it's a monster. Yeah. We actually get returns because people will buy them on Amazon and say, I didn't realize how big this was going to be. And we're like, have you not seen a 2-inch ratchet strap before? This is that with real steel heavy components.
Right.
Like when you put real big double S hooks on it, when you put a real steel spring on it for that stability, and when you use a really quality long ratchet, 170 millimeter long ratcheting arm, it's a 7.5 pound box sitting on your door for one strap, right?
Yeah.
The
No,
thing's a total monster, and people aren't quite expecting that. But then guys like you, they see that and they're like, "Oh hell yeah, that's what I want."
that's what I want. Exactly.
Yep, yep,
So the spring on the Torkstrap Pro, it's not round. It's kind of ovaled.
right. Yeah, the Torkstrap Pro took a lot more engineering. It required a completely different patent. But yeah, I had to achieve that oval shape to kind of keep the profile low. With webbing, as you go from 1 inch to 2 inch. Um, a spring that's round that could fit over that webbing would be enormous. It'd be a soda
Yep.
can. So I had to
Yeah.
ask the spring manufacturer, can you make an oval spring? Let me check adjustments, weeks, months. Finally, we get the right oval spring with the right tension, and it worked out really well.
Yeah, it looks awesome. So it's interesting with the Torkstrap Pro, your spring actually compresses when you ratchet rather
Yes.
than the other way.
Yes, that's right. It's a compression rather than an extension. Again, that was the only way to pull this off and maintain the load rating in a manufacturable way.
It's just crazy.
The important thing there is the load rating because like we go back to our 1-inch cam straps, the Torque
Yep.
Strap M500. People assume, okay, it's got a spring in line with it, so that spring could just explode and break. There's a limiter band on it. So it's one continuous piece of webbing. There's no sewing or anything there, no stitching or splicing. One continuous piece of webbing, which that was a feat in its own, figuring out kind of that routing pattern of the webbing. So all your load is on the strap itself. That's why we have a 1,500-pound break strength, which you divide that by 3. That's how you get your working load if
Yep.
anybody's interested.
I didn't know that. That's really interesting.
Yep. That's break strength is like the flashy thing number that companies throw out, like, hey, buy my product. But WLL, working load limit or minimum braking strength, whatever you call it, that is 1/3 of the brake strength, and that's what really matters. That's what your strap can do all day long.
Yeah, it's now that you say that, I don't think I've ever seen another strap show the working load. I only ever see the braking load.
Yeah, they lead with it, but you want to dig into the working load or just do the math, divide it by 3. Because again, when you look at that formula I was talking about earlier, they're considering working loads. They're not considering braking strengths.
Yeah, that's crazy. So do you predominantly do dirt bikes then, or do you have a rig that you wheel with as well?
I predominantly grew up on dirt bikes. I no longer have them anymore, but that was one of the industries I had top of mind when I was developing it. But the thing about the strap market is it's so huge. It could cover
Right.
every single construction niche, every single sporting, outdoors, aquatic, 4x4, overland. So what I have to do is kind of look at markets one at a time and say, okay, we've educated the dirt bike market. Now it's time to educate the kayakers because the kayakers don't realize they're damaging their kayaks with their ratchet straps. They're putting dents in their plastic or it's vibrating loose. And that's why it's halfway hanging off the truck by the time they get to the destination. And then with overlanding, we have our swag bags. Is it swag or swage?
Swag.
Swag. Okay. We have our swag bags and we have our camping equipment. That could be a tent with fiberglass rods and the nylon fabric material. Like everything is so dynamic and prone to shift and sink and
Right.
change shape by the time you turn the first corner. So yes, like dirt bikes was kind of how I grew up. Like, oh, straps are for dirt bikes, but obviously we use straps for so much, and that's like the constant battle, as CEO is who am I marketing to? Who am I know I'm marketing to everyone, but it's very expensive to market to everyone. We need to nail that down and help people understand the most. That's kind of why I'm talking to the off-roaders a lot lately. It's why I went to Overland Expo West 4 months ago and got a bunch of content and made a bunch of friends and networking because yeah, we need to kind of spread the awareness of the dangers of using any old strap.
Yeah,
Hmm.
for sure. Um, yeah, canoes and kayaks. So I've got a canoe that I haul every once in a while. That thing is a pain in the butt to strap on the roof
Oh, I
because
bet.
if you tighten it to where you think it's going to, stay on, then it's denting the canoe. So you got to like hover between the 2 points where it's too loose and too tight.
And every click on a ratchet strap is 60 pounds of tension. You
Right.
have once it's starting to get taut, every click 60 pounds. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You go from the perfect 100 pounds to all of a sudden almost 200 pounds. And then you hit that critical breaking point. This is why we're breaking furniture, or it's either too tight or too loose. That's the bottom line. And the way the Torkstrap works with the pull technology, whether it's the 1 inch or 1.5 inch, you can feel like you have that tactile feel when you're pulling on the strap when it's just right. So you
Yeah.
just want to put 30 pounds on something, you know how to do that. You can feel that. You want to put a full 120 pounds on it, no problem. You throw your shoulders into it, give it a yank, it's going to hold at 120 pounds the whole time.
Yeah, you're the M500, the 2 smaller ones there. I'm really interested to see how the what are those called? Cam locks or something like that?
Cam buckles, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, cam buckles.
Mhm.
I'm really interested to see how those hold. I'm probably gonna order some of these actually, because it seems like every single cam buckle, ratchet that, or not ratchet, but strap that I get, it just the teeth just don't hold where I want them to.
Well, that's the thing. The teeth in cam buckles almost never slip. I'm willing to bet they've never slipped on you.
Yeah.
And you tie that little, half hitch knot on the behind them so that they don't slip, right?
Right, right,
That's
yep,
what we all do because we think that's what the problem is. But that's not what the problem is. The teeth never slip. What happens is if the load shifts and vibrates even a quarter inch,
yep,
it slacks out and you're convinced that it slipped. Nothing slipped. It is it I've done the tests. I've drawn the lines on the webbing. I've
hmm,
zoomed in on them, put them under hundreds if not thousands of pounds of tension. They do not slip. They're incredible buckles. They've just been completely underutilized because the straps have never had a flexible portion.
yeah. That makes a lot of sense actually. Because now that you say that, it doesn't seem like the tail ever gets shorter. It just seems like they don't stay tight.
Exactly. That's all it is. It's because one, they never got that tight in the first place. Without a spring, you get no inertia, no momentum, no flex. And two, they started off loose. And number two, your load's going to sink a quarter inch no matter what it is. I know it could be a concrete block. Somehow it's going to find a way to make room under that strap. Everything does.
Yeah. Um, Especially cars. So with cars, we usually strap down, tires or axles, and
Yeah.
then just kind of let the car suspension do its thing. Um, you'd still want to do that with a torque strap, obviously.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Cars and
I,
vehicles, it's like you said, you have your tried and true methods, strapping down axles and tires. If you're strapping down, obviously at axle level or tire level or lower, there's no flex there. Um, and in that case, you do want to have the flexible portion in it.
right.
As far as fastening to a tire, that requires the proper tire strap, which we don't currently sell because it's just not a
Yeah.
market we've gone after aggressively. That's one way to do it. But like the best scenario or the best example is like UTVs. That's a home run for us.
Yeah.
UTV, you're strapping to the center grab bar on the front, maybe is what it's called, and in the rear you have a hitch, usually with kind of a U-shaped clasp or a U-shaped anchor point. That's a home run. You're there because they have the independent suspension.
Yep.
You are shrinking down the vehicle. You are compressing the spring and the strap, so you have a lot of dynamic tension that's going to hug the load no matter what happens.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Um, yeah, especially I've seen so many UTVs come off trailers, man.
Really?
It's just all the time. If you're on Instagram, you'll see a reel probably once a month, once a week to once a month. I see someone whose UTV decided to go off on the side somewhere.
Oh boy. Yeah. I no, I absolutely believe it. It's funny how everybody's feed is just a little bit different, right? Like you get
Hmm.
to watching Donald Trump impressions and all of a sudden your feed is just Trump impressions for the next 3 months.
Yeah, I read one article about I don't remember what it was. Some policy that California was implementing, and now all I see are all the policies California's implementing.
Right.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I'm not even in California.
why am I why am I seeing this crap? But yeah, yeah, it is wild. But I have friends send me Instagram reels all the time from all over the country of people losing different loads or some jagoff standing on the back of a trailer holding a fridge by hand rather than using a strap, As the strap guy, I get all the videos. The best one I got was when I moved to Miami. I think it was 2 years ago, right away when we moved here. Horrible hurricane was coming, and it was supposed to be horrible according to the news. To us, it was really nothing. Um, but some guy had put 4-inch ratchet straps over his entire house.
Oh
I've seen
yeah.
that one.
You've seen it, right?
I've seen it. Yeah.
I had friends making memes, putting my face in there, Torkstrap, we got you covered, just doing all kinds of crap. And I'm like, man, I need to find a new career, man.
I not that your straps would
No.
have helped in this situation, but the sketchiest I've done is we drove 40 minutes to pick up a truck in I think it was out in Bisbee, Arizona, and we had to get it back to Sierra Vista, Arizona, and we'd forgotten the straps. So we just pulled it on the trailer and had someone sit in there and hold the brake.
Oh, God.
Hold the brake, Timmy. Dude, that's good. Yeah, it always seems logical in the moment. You're like, I just got to get home. I just got to get home. My worst one, my most embarrassing one, I think I was 24, and this is before I took anything seriously. Because to be blunt with you, like I never took strapping stuff too seriously, kind of until this night. Not that anything traumatic happened, but I was just like, wow. And then in my young 20s, I didn't care really about anything, but just get me to the track. I want to ride or I want to go hang out with my girlfriend. That's it. But then you get in the trades and you learn about how to do stuff right. You learn about injuries. You learn about safety mechanisms. You learn about redundancies. And that's when kind of the passion kicked in. But before all that, 24, my girlfriend's grandma had died, and we were going up to Iowa to clean out the estate. She was going to get a bunch of stuff, and the timing was perfect. She just got a new house, new apartment, whatever it was. We needed that furniture. It was critical. So I take a flatbed, not even a flatbed, just a flat utility trailer up there. I don't know, 8x4, 8x5. No sidewalls, no gate, nothing, just a flat piece of plywood on wheels, basically. And I go up there with like 3 or 4 cam straps and just a octopus of knotted up bungee cords. And we're loading the stuff up, and I'll never forget her dad, who never liked me. He's standing over me. You're going to use that? Oh, I don't know about that. I don't think that's going to hold. And I'm just, punk kid. I think I know everything. Strap everything down. Sure enough, halfway home, it's like midnight. I look in the rearview mirror, tables, chairs, nightstands, lamps, everything's just doing that classic twirl in the middle of the highway behind us as it slides to a stop. And I'm like, oh my God, it happened. Like I finally, it like my recklessness finally caught up with me. So what I do, I pull over, pick up all the crap, then go to a Pilot, I think was the store, mega gas station, bite the bullet, buy a 4-pack or 8-pack of ratchet straps, fumble dick around with those for 45 minutes, cracked a lot of furniture because I was like, hey, this ain't going anywhere this time. And I got it way too tight. Now I'm doing even more damage to the scratch furniture. It's now cracking. And we were only able to salvage like half that load. I was never able to salvage my pride. Like that woman never looked at me the same after that night. And she left me 4 months later. I think it had something to do with that load, man.
There you go. Get your loads right, or your girlfriend's going to leave you.
Darn right. Control those loads, buddy.
So, little maybe side tangent. You might be the one to ask this. So, I wish I had a ratchet here to explain. People feed their strap through their ratchet, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't it drive you nuts when they don't feed it back the other way so that it's nice and clean, and they just leave it in the way of the handle?
Oh God, that's the worst.
Okay, thank God.
Oh, I actually do that. I used to do that intentionally in videos just to get guys like you to comment on it because it was such easy, comment bait.
Right.
But yeah, feed it through. I mean, look, you could go up to 5 different guys, girls, whatever, but I hone in on guys because in my opinion, guys should know how to use ratchet straps. The unfortunate truth is 2 out of 5 of us can use them. The rest of us can't. Yeah. When you hand a strap to a guy, he's going to try feeding that dumb end into the ratchet every which way from Sunday. Yes, you're right. They're going to feed it in line to where it's going to conflict with the ratcheting mechanism. When in reality, it's so simple. Like once you know, once you're really like, you got to sit down, you got to look at it and say, okay, Grant, this is how you do it. You close it, you feed it through, you pull it back, done. Why are we overcomplicating it? But when somebody hands you a ratchet, there's usually 2 or 3 other guys looking. It's usually loud. You're usually at a track or a campground. Sometimes there's girls there, and you just panic, man. You lose your composure. You feed it through the wrong way. You put a knot in it. You put a twist in it. And mind you, knots and twists, that's a whole other safety thing. Every time you put a knot in a strap or a twist, not a one twist, but if you pinch webbing, you cut that load rating, down by 25%, if not more.
Wow, I
So,
didn't know that.
yeah, like when I was a lineman, I had to learn all about knots, and there's a knot called the bowline, which most people have heard of. It's the most popular knot because it only loses 30% of strength. But still, even a bowline knot loses will make your rope or your webbing, whatever, lose 30% of strength. If you just tie a random granny knot in the middle of a strap, it's definitely going to break at that knot, and you probably cut down the load rating by about half.
Is that permanently damaging it, or can you untie it and then it's okay? Or
You can untie it and it's okay, but it definitely did do some permanent damage. Probably like a negligible amount, but
yep,
with enough stress, you'll do damage. Because if you really think about it, say that strap was full of dust, which they often are, and that's normal. That's
usually.
fine. You got to keep them in the bag, do your best. We have lifetime warranties, but you have to do your part, right? Like we're going to
Right.
ask for pictures. We're going to make sure you weren't leaving it in the bed of the truck. But anyway, there's dust in the webbing. Now you have a knot. Now you've compacted that dust into the fibers, and it's been wet, dry, wet, dry. So there's going to be rot where that knot was. There's going to be abrasions where that knot was. There's just no getting around it. So, yeah, respect the straps is the moral of the story.
Yeah, I mean, when I mean, I'm a farmer. I haul tractors semi regularly. You're hauling something that weighs 10,000 pounds. You don't want to have something that's ever been, broken or torn at all,
No, absolutely not. You want
or
to start.
abrased.
No, yeah. If anything's in question, just don't use it. Anybody listening, if that's like the one takeaway today, go out, sift through the straps, and just cut the ones in half and throw them away that are questionable. I know you don't want to. I know it feels like you're throwing money out the window, but ask yourself, is it worth it? Because, man, we've seen it on social media. A lot can go wrong quick, and it's either going to cost you a lot of money or it's going to cost you a big ticket, cost you a lot of embarrassment.
I always like the videos where there's a guy, maybe he's got a landscaping business and he gets in a wreck on the expressway and his trailer flips over, but his load stayed perfectly centered on the trailer, like it never moved.
I haven't seen that one. That's awesome. That's the ideal scenario, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There was one here in Michigan not too long ago. Guy was hauling a tow truck, well, a truck with a plow on it. And he got in like a 18 or 20 car pileup, and the truck never moved off the trailer.
Wow. Yeah. I mean,
Just crazy.
job well done, man. It's amazing the juxtaposition between those of us who hold a refrigerator by hand or your buddy who puts his foot on the brake to guys like that.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, but did you die? No, we're good.
I think my favorite one out of that is, I don't know if you've seen the one where the trailer's like upright, not where it's supposed to be, like stuck in the ground, and the load's still chained without falling off. Like, wow.
You guys will have to start sending me these. I need my feed to look like your guys's so I have more subject matter for my social media videos.
I do watch a lot of load failures because those videos can be so funny.
Oh yeah.
Or terrifying. There's one, I mean, it's been years since I've seen this one. They were hauling a bulldozer, and as they turned the corner at a stoplight, the bulldozer kept going and tipped over on a lady's car. And I think it killed her and her daughter. I can't remember now. But that wasn't funny. That one was terrifying.
No.
Yeah. It can go dark really fast. Like I saw a picture of, or no, it was a crash test. It was a crash test. It was like, think of like a HVAC, like an air handling unit on its side in the bed of a truck, right? So kind of like the shape of a fridge, very dense, very heavy. And in the crash test, it was a super high slow motion camera, high frame rate camera. They had a couple chains and straps over it that were just holding it in one direction. That's the other thing. You got to think of what direction could this item go when
Right.
crap hits the fan. And the truck runs right into the barrier, runs right into the test wall, and the unit just keeps going. You're watching slow motion. It's just plowing into the cab. It just relentlessly eating into that vehicle, and you're like, that would have killed everybody, even in the front row.
Right.
The moral of that is you don't know. I mean, don't underestimate inertia. You're moving at 80 miles an hour and you stop. Whatever's in the back is going to keep doing what it was doing a second ago.
Right.
And are you in the path?
That's I hadn't even thought about, because usually we strap on the axle and then back and then forward, obviously. So I guess we're kind of covering all four directions it could move with just two straps.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah, you definitely want to try to do an X pattern anytime you can. And yeah, the orientation you have it, you would be covered in all directions. Because yeah, you can get hit from any direction. You can stop
Right.
in any manner. What you just don't know. And to only strap like over the belly of something so it can't shift side to side, that's just reckless, man, because you hit that hard stop, you don't know what's going to happen.
And don't throw straps over the bed of a pickup and think that that's holding it onto a trailer. Oh my
No.
gosh. We've got a I'll call him an acquaintance. A friend's husband, well, an old friend's husband. I went to help him and his dad move a broke down truck, and his dad had a GMC 1500 van of some kind, and he was convinced that he could haul this truck with it. So he gets it up on the trailer, he throws the strap over the hood and over the bed, and then tightens them tight. And they were like 1-inch straps. Then he sets the trailer down on the truck or on the van and goes to pull out of the driveway. And he only went maybe 200 feet because he dug a 2-inch groove into the pavement, because that hitch the van couldn't support it. So it just collapsed and dragged.
Man, oh man.
So then I drove an hour down to my dad's to get his Duramax, to drive all the way back, to strap the truck down right, to haul it an hour back because it had to go almost next door to my dad's. And in that whole process, his dad kept just saying, I had it strapped right. And I'm like, oh my God.
I don't know what happened.
I'm like, that's not the way.
Changing subject, I was curious. I was listening to your guys' episode about you guys all got new rigs, right? You guys have the $5,000 limit. Was that for real? Are you doing that? Did you do that? No. Okay. This is it was a made up scenario. Okay.
Yeah. Like we did one a while back where we went through Facebook Market and had a budget. We had to buy a vehicle and other tools and stuff based off of that budget. So it's kind of similar to that.
I mean,
yeah,
is a great premise. That would make a great YouTube video, and I love how you guys all kind of picked your characters and the way you were kind of fighting for your vehicles and their attributes. I had to Google two of them. I knew the Montero. I didn't know the other two. What were they?
The Via Cross and I don't remember the van that
started with a D. It was another Mitsubishi, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Delica?
Delica. Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah. Those are some deep cuts, man. I looked up the Via Cross and the Delica, and I had recognized them. I had seen them before, but I was like, damn, that's a deep cut. But that was a fun episode. That would make a really great YouTube video, kind of like overlanding on a budget. Pick your vehicle.
I wish that we had money to do stuff like that, because it would be so fun.
I wish I did too. I used to really try to take Torkstrap revenue and do fun stuff with it like that, like to create a YouTube channel or whatever. It wouldn't go crazy, but it'd be like, oh, let's buy an e-bike, then we can make fun videos with the e-bike.
Yeah.
But turns out in business, it's better to spend your money on smart things like more inventory and stuff like that. So I tried to make the business the playground to do that kind of stuff, but it never worked out.
So you're kind of on that topic. So with Torkstrap, you don't manufacture them, right? You just have the patent and then you pay someone to manufacture them?
Yeah, third party manufacturing. So we call ourselves the manufacturer because we're the
Right.
OEM, we got the design. We use third party manufacturing, and that is in China. And I'll tell you that, everybody has their feelings about Chinese manufacturing. Obviously, I do too. But we looked like every new inventor does. We looked at US manufacturing for a long time, or I did. Um,
It's hard.
and it would have cost easily 7 times more.
Yeah.
You're talking about cargo straps, and you're talking about ours, which is already very much customized and, very much more expensive. Add in trying to make it in the US, it just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
What makes a good product made in China is the company, is the OEM, being very firm on that factory. Because the greatest things that we use are made in China. Everything on my
100%.
desk, probably yours, is made in China. The difference is, Apple has very strict policies in place to make sure quality is maintained. So, yes, you're going to have to get your straps from that were made in China, no matter what you do. You got to ask yourself, am I dealing with a company that cares enough to quality check what the factory is doing?
Yeah, I'm working on making vehicle specific tool rolls. So you buy a tool roll and it has every tool you would need to fix something on the trail.
Nice.
Um, and I've been dealing a lot with the Chinese manufacturer, well, not manufacturers per se, because some of these I've designed, but the Chinese manufacturing companies, maybe that's the word to use, where they actually build the products. That's a pain in the butt, dude. Some of them guys they're just trying to make money and they're not putting forth good products.
Yeah, that's a whole other subject. It's really about how you approach it, because there's a whole slew of like product bros that have come up in the last 15 years, ever since the Amazon courses started coming out, make
Mhm.
money on Amazon. And so there's a lot of salespeople on, Chinese manufacturers, Chinese salespeople on Alibaba who are fielding inquiries all the time from
Right.
kind of BSers, uh, guys and gals who don't really have a plan in place. So their mentality, they categorize people 2 ways. One is, hey, this is going to be a one-off order. Let's just get it done and get the transaction made, send him whatever we can come up with. Or 2, they take you seriously and they say this is going to be repeat business. So that's really how you frame it and how you talk to them. And sadly, and I talk about this on my Inventors podcast, you have to do a lot of BS and you have to pretend you're bigger than you are. You have to kind of flex. You have to talk about your investors. You have to make up a lot of bull crap that makes them kind of sit back in their seat and say, okay, well, let's think about this. This guy could be a good commission check for the next 3 years. And then they're a little bit less of a pain to deal with. But one thing I learned is if they start with bad communication, it's not going to get better. Just
Yep.
move on to the next one. There's thousands of manufacturers out there. Don't waste your time on bad English. Don't waste your time on miscommunication, misconstruing your words. Don't waste time on the guy or gal who's short with you. It's just not necessary. There's a lot of good factories and a lot of good salespeople out there.
Yeah, I did a big because I'm doing their impact rated sockets. So that you can use an impact if you have one. I'm not supplying an impact. But I went through probably 7 or 8 companies that all said they were impact rated, and then I'd have them send me the center cuts, send me what they look like on the inside, and they were just chromally painted black.
Oh,
Like that is not an impact socket.
wow. That's bold. That's some bold bull crap right there. I'm not surprised.
But yeah, I was looking through, and actually I think that our bags, mine is very similar to the one that you're using.
Yeah, very similar. It's a good concept. It's and it works, man. Like These tool roll-up bags, they've been around forever, but the question is, are they oriented right for the job at hand?
Right.
And by making some simple modifications, you can open up a whole category and a whole new customer base. So I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, you should definitely plug your inventor podcast before we leave. We'll do that at the end so like the listeners can find it easier.
Sounds
Um,
good.
Also, I need to get that because I want to listen to it too. But yeah, so I mean, it's definitely interesting dealing with the Chinese people as well because the way that their business culture is very different from ours.
Yeah.
Um, I worked at a couple factories. I did shipping and receiving for fuel fillers. When you go to put gas in your car, the neck that goes from the where you put the nozzle in down to the tank.
Okay.
And we had learning to deal with the Chinese guys there to get like, say, a small grommet that helps a lot because that is such a hard thing to figure out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely had a head start knowing that. I know when I went into it, man, I found my first manufacturer on Alibaba. We all do. We pretty much have to. People will pretend they don't, but it's like unless
Where else do you go? Yeah.
there's nowhere else to go. And I was very defensive. I was going to order 1,000 straps. And at that time, I was assembling them in my garage because I didn't want any Chinese factory to know my whole IP,
Because
my
then they
whole
do white
Mhm.
labeling.
yeah. So what I did was order just the strap with the buckles and some loops sewn in it in a particular configuration. Anyway, ordered 1,000 of those, and yeah, the first shipment, the buckles or the loops were sewn in the wrong place, so I had to disassemble them, resew. I had to learn how to sew. I had to sew with a weight rating, which was very difficult to do. But that's kind of like the processes you have to go through. And I dealt with that bull crap with that manufacturer for way too long, man. It was like an abusive relationship. I just kept going back because I didn't have a spine yet. But now I don't put up with any crap from anybody. And you kind of learn to kind of suss out the bull crap before it happens. But I think the biggest thing is how you talk to them. Like
For sure.
sometimes I'll tell them, hey, I'm gonna put in an order and I'm flying out in September. I'll see you September 5th. Book some nice restaurants. And I do want to go. In my head, I intend on going, but in reality, I know my wife probably won't let me. And then
Yeah.
you tell them 15 days prior. They've already made the order. They're ready. They're thinking I'm gonna come. They haven't necessarily made any plans or any reservations. And then I'll tell them, it didn't work out. I can't come. But that was just to keep them on their toes.
Right.
And sometimes that's what you got to do.
Yeah, I've never actually been to China. It'd be interesting to see how some of these places work because there's companies out there that make, everything like Viver. Viver has what, like 6 or 7 factories,
Yeah.
but they make everything under the sun. And obviously they're ripping everyone off, but they still have to set up the tooling for everything under the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know anything about them. All I know is that they have just completely like bastardized TikTok shop from what I can tell. Like every time I get on, like I try to recruit affiliates to sell my product and I'll look at the affiliate and the stuff that they're putting out and it's all Viver products. And you can tell right away Viver is like a quintessential like Timu step up. I don't even know. I shouldn't talk bad about it. I don't know a lot about it, but it is so saturated. And I'm looking at one guy, he's got a socket set, and the next guy, he's got a blow up projector screen for your backyard.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going
Yeah.
on with Viver, man?
I always get a kick out if you go on Amazon and just think of a random product, like I'll look up plunger, like a toilet plunger, right?
Uh-huh.
The 5th option is a Viver product.
Seriously. Wow.
Like it's you think of it, they've got it,
Yeah, like you
Yeah.
said, they got to tool all that. Or maybe they're just finding a factory that's already making the plungers and saying, hey, stick our label on it and call it a Viver. I don't know. It can all work. It's a matter of how hard they're willing to work to market it. They definitely dominated TikTok shop, that's for sure. In fact, like I was talking to another inventor about this. It's hard. TikTok shop had like it was a huge growth lever for people in the beginning. Like Rhino USA, they went all in, their big strap company. They went all in on TikTok shop back in 23, or I don't know when they did it, but they
Mhm.
just they rode that wave and they did like more than $10 million in sales just off of TikTok shop. Um,
Yeah.
I missed that wave. I didn't want to do it. That was back when Trump was going to ban TikTok supposedly, and I was like, "Ah, what a waste of time. I'll stick with the normal routes." But so I tried getting into it after the game, but everybody is so accustomed to these Chinese brands being pushed by TikTok salespeople and these kind of like mindless TikTok videos. Hey guys, click the link in the
Yeah.
bio if you want to buy this. It's this long, it's this round, it has this feature. They just read off the back of the box to the camera and then on to the next product. It's like the most
Yeah.
depressing thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I've never been on TikTok shop, so I don't know, but
It's just TikTok in general. Like if you get on TikTok, which I don't either, but I had to learn it because of my
right.
business. Every third video, someone's pushing a product. And the idea is
Crazy.
you're shopping and you're getting entertainment in the same place.
I mean,
So
Instagram's not much different, so
it's not much different anymore. It's got a little bit more dignity and it's a little bit less driven by these like direct Chinese companies. It's like good US brands working with affiliates in a respectable way. But TikTok
Yeah.
is just like a chop shop. It's just turn and burn. Here's your commission. Put out as many videos as you can. Who cares if what happens or what it looks like?
yeah, Rhino USA, I not to throw shade on those guys at all, but they kind of do the same thing. Like they use a lot of white label products, a lot of stuff that I can look at and tell you doesn't look safe. And it just I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Rhino USA. I mean, obviously I've used some of their products before, but
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of feelings about them, but I got to keep them to myself because they've never done anything wrong to me, and uh, uh, we're comrades, in commerce at the end of the
right,
day.
right.
Um,
Yeah, no,
but
keep it to
yeah, I
yourself.
would
I'm not trying to
agree.
get you in trouble.
No, I mean, I'll get myself in trouble. Don't worry about that. But to me, I kind of looked at their business and I'm like, wow, why are they so huge? Why are they doing 10 and 20 million? Well, like you said, they're rolling out a new product all the time. This could be a bag, a shackle, a stereo, could be a rope, could be a shovel, could be a pocket knife.
Yep.
And I think, well,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's good for your guys' business. I get it. You're trying to grow your market, grow your bottom line. But I got in this because of straps. Um, if you look at their history, they did too.
Yep.
To me, there's plenty of work to be done on straps, and I want to stay focused on straps. I want to be the guy that when you have a strap problem, you think of, me and my company, not when you want any off-road accessory, you shop my store to see if I have one. Like I kind of just
Yeah.
want to be a specialist.
Hey,
Yeah.
and that's the way to do it because all these big conglomerates, they always tend to miss the mark on one product or all products for that matter. Nothing's done 100% right. Whereas when you have one company that specializes, it's done right. Like
Right.
Tyler with Moreflate.
Right.
Tyler pretty much only focuses on air inflation and deflation. And
Right.
he, because of that, his product is a step above everybody else's.
Right.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah, master of one rather than master of none. Yeah, it's very important. And yeah, the unfortunate thing is you're only going to build a business up to a couple million, maybe 10 million in revenue. And that's great. That's you're going to build a business that can employ 5, 6 people. You can live very comfortably off that. Very respectable. But a lot of these businesses, they see dollar signs and they want to grow it to 20 million and 30 million. It's a whole different thing at that point. A whole different thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, at that point, you have to branch out to, because, like you said, 5 to 10 million is about your max, especially when you're doing a niche product. Not that straps are necessarily niche, but they kind of are, you know?
They definitely are. Mine
Um,
definitely are.
yeah, yours definitely are.
Yeah.
But you're only going to hit that mark. And the only way to go beyond that is to start doing other stuff. And once you start doing other stuff, it's just a slippery slope downhill.
Yeah, because where do you stop? And then to grow, you take on investors or you take on loans or what
Right.
have you. Now you're trying to appease a lot of different bosses. Where are you going to draw the line? It's really just a matter of when stuff hits the fan. When like you have enough products that didn't really get engineered right, didn't have enough thought behind them. Again, I'm talking in general, every company. I'm not talking about Rhino anymore.
We got you.
It's just a matter of time before you're going to lose control. I mean, I can't sit here and talk bad about them. At the end of the day, would I love to run a $30 million company? Of course, that would be
Oh,
awesome.
those guys make bank. They really
They
do.
make bank, man.
And they run it smart. They've got good customer service.
Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, they do a good job.
they do. They absolutely do.
I might question some of the gear they put out. I think it might be lower quality than what it should be, but at the end of the day, they've got good customer service and they work their butts off.
They do. If you listen to their story, it's pretty interesting. I think the two sons, they took an Amazon course
Yep.
and they identified that they could make soft ties. If
Yep.
they made soft ties and listed them on Amazon, they could turn some profit, and then that turned into straps, and then that turned into more straps, and you can go pretty far with straps. Then it turned into, what it is now. But I would definitely like to meet those guys. I would like to be a fly on the wall. I know the dad, the patriarch, he's very heavy in the business. Heard him on a podcast once. But I can only imagine the dedication between those two sons and the dad, the ideas that they throw out. You can tell they don't say no to anything. And
No.
I'm pretty sure they just bought like a giant farm to create content on.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, to put their wheelers out and do their off-roading and recovery like on their little Texas playground, which I'm green with envy, but I also I also know that like I've tried stuff similar to that before. I've tried to be the content engine myself, and I found that it's best to let the users make content because they're going to make the most authentic content. So anyway, I digress. Yeah, it's a hell of a business they put together off of straps. It's crazy, man.
Well, we're coming up on an hour. Do you have any closing thoughts for the listeners?
No, I'm not going to preach about straps anymore. I think that's about all they can listen to. But I think you mentioned the pod. Yeah, definitely. Look, when you have an invention idea, you're going to get on Google and you're going to search something silly like how to invent something or whatever. That's what I did back in 2020. And you're going to see the companies on the top of Google under the sponsored result and, approach with caution. There's a reason they can afford that position on Google.
Right.
And then you're going to go to YouTube and you're going to see some other people talking about, don't do all that hard work. Just file a provisional patent and go after licensing, hunt down a company and make mailbox money. Well, it's all bull crap. I mean, I shouldn't say that doesn't exist, but the odds, you have a better chance of getting hit by lightning almost.
Yeah.
And ask yourself, why are they selling a $4,500 course if they make so much money licensing their products? So in reality, inventing is just entrepreneurship. It's just like any other industry. You want to start a roofing company, you buy a truck, you buy some ladders, you start putting on roofs. You don't go to other companies saying, hey, I want to start a roofing company. Can I trademark the idea and license it to you? What do you think? Can I get investors off my idea? No. Buy shingles, put on roofs. It's the same when you invent something. Buy parts, put them together, sell it, and then tier up. So the podcast is called Invent With Me. The first 10 episodes, I just kind of laid out like what I went through. Now I'm almost on episode 100. I think I just passed 90. And we're talking about everything: how to run the Shopify store, how to manage your email list, how I find affiliates for cheap and motivate them, retail channels, distribution, your sales methods, going after different industries. Obviously patents and all the geek out stuff of inventing. I bring on a guest almost every week. If I don't know it, I bring on a guest who's done it. They've invented something electrical. They've invented something in plumbing. So yeah, if you ever have an invention idea and you want to really venture the idea, because that's the only way to make money, in my opinion, invent with me. We're pretty big on YouTube. We're at like 4,400 subscribers, growing pretty quick. Finally starting to take off.
Yeah, our YouTube, barely anyone uses YouTube.
Well, you got to put video up first. That's
Yeah,
step
yeah.
number one.
No, video's a lot more work to edit, so
Yeah,
I just do
definitely
that. But our RSS numbers are good enough that I'm like, do I really need to worry about video?
No, that's the thing. Like video, it can attract the wrong person too. So there's nothing wrong with going full audio. Because when somebody's on YouTube, they're kind of looking for a dopamine hit.
Right.
But when they're committed to listening, you think about the power of a group of people, even if it's 15 people who listen to the show, but sitting quietly in a car and listening to all the words you say uninterrupted. Like that's much more impactful than somebody watching 8 minutes of your 1 hour podcast on YouTube, taking a couple tips and then off to the next dopamine hit. So it's just a totally different distribution. Nothing wrong with it at all.
Do you only do YouTube, or do you have an RSS feed as well?
I have RSS, so it distributes on Spotify and Apple. And but I've grown. I got most of my growth from YouTube, because when I put out an episode, it'll pretty much like kind of plateau around 90 to 120 downloads after like a week or two. But on YouTube, it just keeps going. It'll be at 600, 700, 800, maybe even 1,000 views after a couple weeks. So I think YouTube is big for discovery and growth. But I'll tell you, when I have like consults with people, like when people are like, Grant, I know this isn't your job, but will you sit with me for an hour? I'm like, sure, I'll do that. They're usually the listeners, because those are the more dedicated people.
Well, there you go. I'm giving you your first downloads from a Zune.
Zune?
Yeah.
Wait, am I on Zune?
So Zune was Microsoft's answer to the iPod.
Oh, God.
That's how I still listen to podcasts and music.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, you're now probably your first downloads from a Zune were just right now.
Man, I'm going to call my mom. That's amazing. Thanks, man.
But yeah, Mark, you got anything left? Anything to say? Anything to ask?
No, not really.
All right. Well, we can call that a wrap.
Cool, guys. I appreciate it.
So we will catch you guys later.
Thanks, guys.
Later.